transport systems has led to the displacement of whole communities due to labour-intensive work situation. For instance, the docks have totally changed their character. The introduction of containerisation wiped out the need for a labour pool to be housed nearby. This change to what has been called a rational approach to cargo and loading has unleashed irrational social forces on the community near the city. This programme is about Sheriff Street and how the changes in technology and in the decline of Dublin as a living city has affected its people.
My name is Tessie McMahon. I am a mother of two and I live in Sheriff Street. Unless you come from a deprived working class area like Sheriff Street, you won't be able to tell very much about me from just this. So what we want to do is give you a very small insight into what it means to live in such an area. An area where 30% and possibly more are unemployed. It's a flats complex built to give the once thriving docks a labour pool. The flats were designed cheaply and to house as many families in the smallest spaces. Little amenities and educational opportunities, but at least good, honest dock work with a long union tradition. There was then need to examine the social problems, but with the introduction of containers, which meant that the work once done by a crew of 40 can now be done by 4. Mass unemployment occurred in the area, thus throwing people without relief into a harsh environment. The minds of all the people in the community. Constant work.
Man used to be out at 6 o'clock in the morning from Golden's. That was 6 o'clock in the evening. With a pair of hobnail boots and everything on them. And they used to work the B&I place. We're pulling an old truck across the road. The Bristol, the Scotch, and now the British Railways is going out. There's no work for anyone around here now at all.
Banana boats used to be just across the way there. They're all gone. So you can talk about class. I've never been to that centre of Dublin. That's a dead centre of Dublin out with you. Way up in.
To live in a dead centre is to live amongst the ruins of vanished work in the knowledge that what had been a family tradition of passing the button is now a souvenir in a glass cabinet.
This would have been the sign of a lot of work here.
There's a load of work here. My own brother used to work on these docks. My grandfather. No? Yeah, with trolleys, you know, the trucks you used to have full of stuff across the road and that, you know. There's constant work there, day for day, for down a bit further too in the Scotch. This is called the V&I. Just up there was the Bristol. There's work flowing all the time. Both sides of the quay, you know. It's always work.
The new generation who would have worked here see bridges where once there were ships. Bridges putting work further and further out of reach.
Much work in the docks now, do you think, from people?
No, I don't think that is. Because my dad's unemployed now, you see. It's hard to get a job now in the docks.
It's hard because there is none. Inhuman economic forces stabbed at the heart of the community's work source. The dockland employers introduced new machinery to quicken unloading, and this change set in motion a process of decay for communities like ours. What happened was inevitable. We see it now as we have been pawns in a game played by industrialists who plan for their own needs.
It's one of the manifestations of urbanizations, that cities grow and change, and the structure changes and cities decay. And one of the factors that has been observed in this country was part of the process observed in other European countries and in other parts of the developed world is that industries, because of their needs, because for technological reasons, that industries have relocated to the periphery of they've moved out of the city centre.
What they should do is build a few factories, start building them and give them employment to the locals around, like the young men, like, you know. Like, they're not afraid of work around here. They're hard workers. They always were, like, you know.
Our community has a workforce willing to be retrained in new skills. The immediate area has all the necessary infrastructure that industrialists look for. 4 transport systems, the canal, the Liffey, the railway and a good pattern of road transport. It has vast open spaces left idle by the collapse of the docks, yet the government agency with responsibility for industrial planning has not responded to check the economic decline of our area. For only by designating our area a priority for industrial development can our situation have any hope of being improved. There is not much difference between the problems of the Gaeltacht and the problems of the inner city communities like ours. We think, in fact, our case is stronger.
There's no reason why this could not be designated as a designated area in terms of grants that would be administered by the IDA. Because of the natural drift of industries to the periphery, industrialists will not locate here unless these incentives are there, unless all other things being equal. It is more profitable for them to locate here than locate elsewhere.
If the IDA were concerned with people and their well-being, there is no reason stopping them putting all their resources into giving the people of the inner city employment. Sheriff Street was dependent upon the docks in the same way a Welsh village depends on a coal mine. When the mine goes, so does the village. Its atmosphere of depression and hopelessness comes mainly from the fact that no industry replaced the docks.
Well, I can't agree with you. That was totally dependent on it, because there are something like 29 industries in the area and people were working from that area in the industries. Yes, there was a large cutback in the dock labour force over the years, down to from 1,000 down to 650. It's not depressed enough to warrant the action you're talking about. We can revitalise the area ourselves by providing jobs for the people. It doesn't follow that the job should necessarily be within the area that we are talking about.
This is an attitude typical of the system which made Sheriff Street in the first place. To say Sheriff Street is not depressed enough is putting industrial planning on a dangerous level of fantasy. It totally ignores that Sheriff Street is in need of priority treatment, not only because it is deprived of employment and burdened by its historic dependence on the docks, but because the environment created by previous planners has led to a system of social apartheid being practiced against the people of Sheriff Street. An apartheid which the IDA themselves continued by not facing up to the urgent need to create new employment sources. The IDA is ignorant of what the Minister for Labour knows as fact, and that is the extent of the social apartheid. Take, for instance, the 29 firms the IDA spokesman said made the people of Sheriff Street not as dependent on the docks as we claimed.
We did a survey of those firms, those 29 firms, and 16 definitely told the surveyors from the National Manpower Service that they would not hire local labour.
I think there's nothing wrong with this place. I was born and raised here, and I love it, you know, and I wouldn't live anywhere else, you know.
Yeah, I think before you open your mouth, there's a bigoted outlook against you, you know. No matter what you say, you know, no matter what you can do. They're on about thieves and that, you know. President Nixon got a pardon, so I think we should get a pardon.
If the Minister for Labour, who is the Dáil representative for our area, takes for granted the level of discrimination practiced against the people of Sheriff Street, and if the IDA don't consider the area depressed enough to warrant emergency action to bring the level of unemployment in the area at least down to national average, who can the teenagers look to be, as the Constitution so poetically puts it, cherished equally? With a little imagination, one could see them, instead of playing cards, playing at throwing petrol bombs out of sheer frustration. Then maybe the controllers of our lives might just consider the area in need of special treatment.
The policy has not been to promote Dublin for new industry, and for that reason, since by a declaration in 1969, we have limited the growth of Dublin to its natural rate of increase. For that reason, and with that policy in mind, we have not attracted the industries into Dublin. And it's fair to say that in the recent past, no new industry has been set up in that area. But again, the effect of our re-equipment programme, which helps the existing Irish industry, has had a major effect on the area. As I told you earlier on, we ploughed in over £400,000 last year into the industries in that core of Dublin as such.
The IDA's total expenditure in 1975 was 47.5 million. Out of their investment of 400,000 in the city centre, a quarter went to Gouldings, now closed. Their re-equipment programme has made little difference to the life and death struggle of the people of Sheriff Street, a struggle involving everyone in the community.
It was about 3 years in London. Came back here, got tired of staying all day, you know, I want to be beside my family and that, you know, my friends and that. When I came back then, there was no work. Can't get any work.
Did you try since you came back?
I tried. I went for loads of interviews and box numbers and that, you know. Only got one reply from one.
Why do you think you didn't get much replies back?
I don't know. I seem to get the idea now that it's just because I'm living down here in Sheriff Street.
You mean you're being discriminated against because you live in the area?
I think that's what it is. I'm beginning to believe that anyway. My father's idle, my brother's idle.
How long was your father idle?
About a year.
Was he ever idle before?
No, he's always worked. I have 5 years' experience as a storeman, and I still can't get a job.
Fran's story is not unique. In a community without a work source, it is quite common. This depression is what most people in the area have to accept day in and day out.
Is there no jobs at all in the area itself now?
No, not around here. I don't think there's any jobs anyway. I've been around looking every day. Can't get a job.
Well, what do you think?
Have to sit in the house all day or just walk around, you know?
What do you think your prospects for the future of getting a job is?
Don't think there's any prospects at all.
None at all. What do you think you'll do then?
Go back to London.
My husband's not working and I've 5 children. Can't get a job anywhere.
How long's he unemployed?
Nearly 2 years.
2 years, and he's on the dole, isn't he?
Yeah, on the assistance.
It must be very hard for a woman with 5 children to...
Yeah, we're on £27 a week. And any job he went to, he couldn't get a job because of where he lived.
I've just had an aunt home from England, and she came to visit me and my sisters. And she's writing a letter to my husband when she gets him a job over there.
Mommy.
And my husband has gone over since last week.
Mommy.
Your husband is gone?
Yeah, he's gone over since last week to look for work.
How many children have you got?
I have 3 children. But he still didn't succeed in getting a job.
The priest that was down there, he's out of parish now, he went around all the firms, wrote to them and asked them to employ the youths that left school. I sent 2 sons to school for 4 years and they had to end up joining the army. One got into the army, the other's too young. He has to wait Christmas to see where they take him. It's no joke buying books out of tech. It costs an awful lot of money. And then for your son to go out to get a job because he lives in any particular place, it's the whole city centre they're against, I think.
The irony of the plight of Sheriff Street is there's a lot of office development going on around the area. Not only do they not give employment to us, but eat away the space we need for when in the future the real purpose of a city is recognised, which is for living and enjoying, not to be deprived in and frustrated by signs of affluence that push you further and further into a corner from which there is but one way out. How many times can you turn your other cheek before your reflexes take over?
You ask your name and address. When you say you're from Sheriff Street, you just hear from us, you know? And you know there's work there, like.
Yeah, and they say it is because you're from Sheriff Street, they say...
No, well, the looks and the impression they give you, like, you know, maybe half down here, they think we're all alike, we're all the same, you know?
Yeah. And you Valerie, you ain't...
Yeah, I'm unemployed as well for about 6 months. And it's the same with me, like, they need you. And when you say you're from Sheriff Street, you just say, well, we'd send for you. We only have experience for our sound. Like, you know, there's, for offices, like, we'd like to do offices now, like, but we haven't got the experience for it. There's more buildings going up for our offices, and all the stone factories is going out.
Do you think education is a good thing?
You have to have
an education. We're out, you know, office jobs, something like that. If you haven't got the education, there's no good in applying for them.
But the thing is now, they don't want us in the area. They want to squeeze us out. They're squeezing whole office complex all around here. This is the intention. And they'll squeeze the centre of these flats into nothing, that we'll have to move out. Because our children won't be able to live when they put new roads or anything up. There'll be too many roads, too much traffic around here.
The belief that we are being squeezed out is not just a local opinion. It is as much a fact of the area's life as the "we'll contact you" attitude of the employers, or the empty and hypocritical promises of the politicians. For no politician, even those who bear our class's name, is respected.
The only thing that happens with your minister is when there's a new job getting put in, and then they come down and they tell you they're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing the other. And when that's finished, it's bugger all done. We got a pat in there a couple of years ago because there was a new government going in. They were to fix up that playground, make a playground in there for the children. Have a look at it. Just have a where would children playing there.
children is coming down in the morning, spotless clean, and 10 minutes there. They're like little niggers.
That people had children and large families was never in the minds of the planners of that complex at the time it was planned. But
because the area was built mainly to avoid a labour pool for the docks, and the docks have now collapsed.
Yes, well, at any rate, the planners did not consider themselves, even though the constitution of the state in which they operated stressed the family and the importance of the family as a unit. Those planners, in practice, when it came to building flats and houses, ignored the family as a unit, and ignored especially the structure and size of the family that they were dealing with.
Hey, Mr. Planner, what about the family unit? You know you ignored the constitution.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Hey, Mr. Planner, so many died for our human rights, and oh, look at the state of our plight.
Oh, he was right.
Hey, Mr. Planner, we awaited your salvation, and here we stand in your damnation.
Oh, amazing.
Hey, Mr. Planner, can you change it? Give us back our sanity. Foxrock Hush Puppies rule, okay?
The planners and politicians in practice can be very selective about relating to the family as a unit. They can, if they want, give space and leisure facilities and a good source of income. This is, of course, when they plan and make decisions for their own class. The dominating factor is power and money.
Within our constitution, there appears to me at all stages to be a kind of conflict between the property rights installed in that constitution and the human rights referred to as the family unit. And I am driven to the conclusion that if this means we've got to go outside the constitution, let's go outside the constitution, but we've got to control land prices to ensure that the jobs are there nearby. And market forces at present seem to assist the drift of industry from the inner city to the peripheries, and I think that must be changed.
But in the sort of society in which we live, that once one has a free market in land, that prices will continue to rise. If the whole social structure were to be changed, well, therefore that particular activities could be allocated to particular areas without reference to a pricing mechanism. But given the existing institutional and legal and political framework, this is something that is not feasible.
If the phrase "to go outside the Constitution" means anything, it must mean in order to control the economic forces which inflict Sheriff Street with possible debt, while idle open spaces accumulate profit. Definitely land prices must be taken out of the free market system. But the control over the financial resources to do something with the land is also vital. This contradiction between the Christian ideals of the Constitution and the practice of the free market system is being recognised by the people of Sheriff Street.
I think there's enough space, room, sheds around this locality to have more employment in the locality than what is here, you know. But there's a building here going to waste. A few thousand acres there. Something could be done with them, some class of warehousing or something, or even indoor sports facilities for the children.
Why do you think that the government is not recognising that there is a problem down in Sheriff Street?
I think they just don't want to recognise it, you know. And that's actually where I learned how to swim, you know. The George in it. And I wouldn't be put up where you'd say Dunleary or Clonsharf or Holtz. I suppose the residents be picking up, you know.
The people of the area are faced with stark realities. The extent of neglect stretches across all levels of the community's existence, and those responsible continue to play their bourgeois fiddler while Sheriff Street wilts. With whatever economic activity there has been in the immediate area, it has not been in the interest of its people. And this inability of the controllers to face up to our crisis comes across in two ways. One, they are deceiving us. Two, they can't make head nor tail of the situation we, not they, face, and they don't care.
It's quite obvious that the ODA are just not doing enough to face up to this crisis.
Sorry, I can't agree with you. It won't end up with a complete debt of a community within the area. The jobs, not necessarily within the area, will keep the community in existence. They will have money, they will be able to buy their houses, look after their houses, feed their families and get out of this general problem that you speak about. But it doesn't necessarily follow that the jobs are just on their doorstep.
One cannot effectively revitalise and contain a living community in a city unless one provides at the same time employment for that community.
Beyond doubt, the community will die. A total attack at the roots of the causes of the problems affecting Sheriff Street is needed. There has been much talk about revitalising city centre communities. The corporation, Mr Tully and almost anyone who is asked about the city say, revitalisation. But the reality is that there is not even basic coordination between the IDA and the Department of Local Government. There is much dust raising but little social cleaning, much politics being made but little change as far as our people are concerned. In all other situations where levels of oppression have gone beyond endurance, violence was the outcome. Yet the solution is frustratingly simple. Give us work.
Well, I think they're leaving it Sheriff Street to the last moment, you know. What have we got to do? Violence is never good for that, you know. You just have to sit and hope.
I don't know how to describe the situation except to say that if we can't get a response in this form in providing the young people of the inner city area with jobs, homes and the possibility of living a normal life, then in the centre of our capital city we are heading for a situation of revolt.
You do get that way of violence, you know, it comes into your head, you know. You know, you say this effing, you know, he's no use. What's he sitting in his arse? He's getting paid, you know, money to look after us, you know, to do his best for us, and he's not doing it, you know.
The children of the area have no future if it is left up to the system to give them opportunity to grow into their full potential. They have lived as the inheritors of the damage done by inhuman economic forces. They have seen how frustrated the more conscious adults have become trying to reform a crushing free market system. And as Mao Zedong said during the Cultural Revolution, the future belongs to the young.
It's only the last 2 or 3 years now the residents around here have got together. And they're getting to be one voice, you know. It's been near time it did happen. Because it was all that somebody else shoulder the blame. Now they're getting a bit of unity. So we think you should try and get a workforce organised, first and foremost.
Well, I think ultimately the community as a community must die. It is a community, I feel, that with a very high level of unemployment, a community which apparently has social problems. It is an area which has educational problems, and this is as a community that it must progressively decline.
Each person's good at something in their own way, no matter how thick and how they are, in my opinion. Everyone is good at something. If you just get the chance to prove it, you know? That's all I think.
If you were to pick a word to describe the present state of Sheriff Street, what word would you pick?
Chaotic. Not through a lot of the people's fault, it's not their own fault, a lot of them. If they got the chance to be educated, the brains are there, but just, it's like a stomach, you have to feed it, you know? You can't learn with just rambling around the streets, not working, your father not working, you know? They're saying, give us the price of the bats. You have to swim out there. That's a lot, you know? A few of them, the hard yards, you want to drown, to run off on their own. You know? It's a hard outstation sometimes.
We hope we have given you a small insight into what it means to live in Sheriff Street, so that the next time you hear someone is from Sheriff Street, you won't say, oh, that place, and condemn the person. We could have gone deeper into the effects of the economic madness we talked about, but we have already and continue to be the victims of sociological studies and surveys, asking us why we think we are poor. We have quite simply pointed to the social causes of our situations. We hope you remember that a person from Sheriff Street has very little going for him, that for us the social system is like a feast we are locked out of, and that the controllers who have the power to stop our community from dying won't get up off their pinstripe suits to face the crisis they have created. We did not create our conditions, we are the victims. Finally, remember that we can be repressed, discriminated against and put down. We can be deprived of all our rights as human beings. but that we won't be responsible for the consequences when we have decided we have had enough. And possibly the next time you hear of riots and demonstrations and occupations, it mightn't necessarily be happening on the Falls Road.